It's no secret that many more people watch television programs like Ancient Aliens on the History Channel than go to lectures given by academic archaeologists and historians. Millions of viewers log in to watch TV shows and docudramas with shaky historical accuracy. We have seen numerous prehistoric anomalies, strange artifacts, and inexplicable traits that all point to a high level of technology that prehistoric man previously possessed. Advanced metallurgy and, in some situations, the appearance of turning stone into magma is possible due to the capacity to generate extremely high heat. The stories that producers and writers create may contain some elements of fact, but they are primarily fiction. These stories are fascinating, however, and unlike most academic work, they are intended for a broad audience. One part in particular is the slab of glass shared by an enormous glass lab dating back thousands of years. However, to create such a large piece of ancient glass would have to have required incredible heat, an extremely large furnace, which by some strange coincidence shares an uncanny similarity with the collection of artifacts that are subject in this video, which was discovered in 2019 on Melbourne Beach off the coast of Australia. 7 objects altogether, including one old Peruvian death mask, have perplexed scientists with the composition of metals used in the creation of the artifacts, which were made of copper, gold, and silver. However, what shocked those looking into the items was the presence of iridium, which is not only incredibly rare on Earth and is typically found in meteorites, but also has a mysterious melting point. Dated over 12,000 years ago, some of the artifacts clearly depict known incoming gods, one of which is Varikacha. Whether these beliefs were merely adopted, like the numerous unexplainable runes we frequently come across and claim were merely re-inhabited, is unknown, but what we do know is that the melting point of iridium is 2,446 degrees Celsius. This means that if an object was manufactured in the times as ancient as those allocated for the construction and required technologies yet to have been invented at the times, it defies logic and shouldn't really exist. But the question that plagues us today is how the Incas could have accessed and utilized rare materials while unhindered by technological advancement limitations at that time. The first wing of the Egyptian Museum, situated close to the Mummy Chamber in Cairo, showcases highly compelling evidence about their possible true origins, and a surprising finds awaits you in a modest display cabinet. An incredibly unique object hewn from brittle schist that bears resemblance to either a wheel or a discus. While the enigmatic tri-lobe disc remains inexplicable today, it holds particular significance within select groups. The study of this object puzzled everyone who looked into it, but more specifically dedicated their time to examine it at length without resolution, and the individual credited with its discovery is among the 20th century's greatest minds when we talk about anything related to ancient Egyptian culture. His book on the topic remains an important reference till date. While excavating the Sakura archaeological zone in 1936, Emery came across Prince Sabu's tomb along with several other tools, including a trilobite disc, and upon discovering this object, he immediately identified it as a container in the form of a schist ball when reporting about First Dynasty tombs. In subsequent years, he returned to discuss this topic and used one specific word to perfectly sum up his feelings of discomfort caused by an object which he called kachibachi. This refers to an insignificant hole that could easily become much larger, similar to those in the same field as him. Emery maintains his notoriety by withholding public recognition for artifacts, which prevents a comprehensive understanding of Egyptian history. The quotation ends with him stating that there still isn't a satisfactory explanation for either the design or the construction of this object, but the introduction of wheels to ancient Egypt is believed to coincide with Hyksos' invasion towards the end of the Median Empire around 1640 BC. Egyptologist Cyril Allred came to the conclusion that, despite being made for more than 1,000 years later than the original metallic structure, this disc is undoubtedly just a replica of something much older. Furthermore, the detail he discovered beside its central orifice leads him to believe that there could potentially be other components involved in this complex machinery with only limited preservation thanks to their stone replication. Despite the lack of information about the creator and the materials used to make it, the complicated design of this ancient Egyptian artwork hints at extraordinary past that diverge from popular held beliefs. It's probable that this artifact was created using highly advanced technology that have since been lost over time after many millennia have passed. While there are many guesses as to why it exists and where it comes from, no one truly knows its true purpose yet. However, when whatever is inside opens up, we will see what secrets await us. Those familiar with the Amwa knows how curious these spacefarers can get when they visit places far beyond their own galaxy. On October 19, 2017, Robert Work spotted one officially designated as a known interstellar object with the Pan-STARRS telescope at Hawaii's Haleakala Observatory, 40 days following the September 9th post-solar transit. Many have questioned the true origins and identity of the object, but Avi Loeb felt the brunt of that curiosity when he published his astrophysics paperback in November 2018. There are exceptions to this rule, such as Loeb's recent work, which delves into the contentious subject of extraterrestrial life and receives criticism from his peers. Examining this strange space rock was the object of this paper, and it hypothesizes that it traveled across many different stars over billions of years before finding its current location. Before long, it is predicted to depart from us and venture once again into interstellar space beyond. But astronomers' prevalent view is that Oumuamua looks more like a peculiarly shaped comet. If we were ever told about such discoveries, the detection of extraterrestrial life would be the most important scientific discovery in human history. Of course, one must remember that, as a civilization, many belief systems openly obfuscate the existence of extraterrestrial life. Loeb offered a rather different explanation. However, saying that Oumuamua could be a probe deliberately sent to our solar system by an ancient civilization. So it is not surprising that his opinions have been so hotly contested. But there is also what appears to be a second reason for why the paper was so widely reported on. Loeb is a tenured Harvard professor in the Department of Astronomy. If he were a random astronomer from, say, Equatorial Guinea, you probably wouldn't write a story about him. Former Harvard colleague and current head of the Dunlop Institute of Astronomy and Astrophysics at the University of Toronto, Brian Gensler. Additionally, the skulls found in Malta's ruins have incredible acoustic qualities, and many ancient Egyptian pharaohs displayed increased cranial bulk. Their instruments are further evidence that they were formerly esteemed members of these societies. We can counter that increasing brain mass is a potential contributing factor to increased intelligence if we believe in the will of these individuals. While those without any sign of binding have been found at various prehistoric sites, such as the alien mines discovered along the shores of Lake Superior, those without any sign of binding are also the most surprising potential contributions to the evolution of technology and architecture uncovered at these sites. Many people continue to genuinely think that the intriguing humanoid skull that Lloyd Pye discovered a few years ago is that of a human-alien hybrid, even though it hasn't been discounted as a deformity. Questions persist about why some of these skulls appear to have been natural, despite the artificial binding that is still there. Why was the exquisite skull of Malta stolen? Who inspired it? Why is the old process still being carried out? And are we actually staring at the remnants of ancient alien visitors? We are really interested in historical studies in this area. The ruins of the ancient town of Arkham are among the most mysterious places on Earth. Recently, President Putin visited them. Researchers in history, archaeology, and UFOlogy have spent years trying to figure out what happened, including what nation lived in the area more than 40 centuries ago, and how its residents were able to create some of the most amazing technological advancements on Earth. In order to irrigate agricultural land that was susceptible to drought, local government officials sought to construct a water reservoir there. However, specialists later uncovered strange ancient circles in the valley's center. The authorities gave archaeologists a year to explore the area. Scientists were startled by what they discovered, but what was just uncovered beneath has received more attention than the bizarre earthworks. These eminent extraterrestrial researchers have gathered in this isolated and neglected region of the Russian countryside in search of indisputable proof that we are not alone. Researchers Maria Markarova and her team found the skeleton in the earth beneath the location, but it was soon obvious that this wasn't just any skeleton. The scientific team rejected the obvious explanation that they were not human remains, instead choosing to surmise that the skeleton belonged to a lady from the Sarmati tribe who lived in the region that is now southern Russia, Kazakhstan, and parts of what is now Ukraine around 2,000 years ago. Sadly, it appears that this is an effort to cast doubt on the true potential value of these remains. This is a move that would be made by all professional researchers funded by an academy that would not appreciate such open disclosure of such sincere and plainly understandable assumptions based on current evidence. For instance, the Sarmati tribe may have engaged in head binding, although it is generally thought that this practice originated outside of the world and that the tribe did not impose any further sanctions. Supporting this assumption would seem to suggest that this is a misleading conclusion to come from. In addition, when the head binding is done, obvious signs as such are left on the skull's deformed cranial napping, and the skull stitching would not look normal. But alas, the stitching will always be there and can be easily seen. The stitching of the skull plates is a normal part of human development. Everyone has it, but this skeleton does not. What do you think about the discovery of an abnormal tribe member buried beneath an extremely ancient and mysterious site, or something entirely different? The skull clearly shows no evidence of binding in the photographs. What's more, and perhaps more concerning, is the lack of any cranial stitching visible at all. What do you think? We'd like to hear your thoughts in the comments below.